All right, today I'm going to tell you how you can reverse your type 2 diabetes, pull yourself back from insulin resistance, and lower that A1C so you can have a long, healthy, high quality life. Let's get into it. So, if you ignore your blood sugar, you are setting yourself up for a huge, huge disappointment. Ignoring your blood sugar is going to lead to higher risk of disease. Your poor insulin control can dramatically increase the chance of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, nerve damage, kidney failure, and vision loss. You're going to have energy and weight struggles. You're going to be constantly fatigued. Stubborn belly fat is going to stay and not leave when you're trying to drop that fat. And you're going to have brain fog. And all of those are signs of poor insulin sensitivity. It's also going to lead to a shorter, low quality life. If you do not take control now, you may be looking at a future of medications, hospital visits, and declining health, just a poor quality of life. And the problem is you got people counting on you, your spouse, your kids, your whole family. And every poor health choice that you make today becomes a burden that they'll have to carry for you tomorrow. But the good news is this: you can take back control, and it's easier and simpler than you think. Your body has a built-in system to control blood sugar naturally, and it's hidden in your muscles. Science shows that fasting, strength training, and walking are powerful tools for improving insulin sensitivity and lowering your A1C, all without relying on medication. Let's go get into the first one: fasting. That's the metabolic reset. I'm going to tell you why it works. Because when you fast, your insulin levels are going to drop. It's going to allow your body to burn that stored fat instead of relying on glucose for energy. Think of it this way: if you're constantly eating and you're spiking your blood sugar throughout the day, don't you think you're going to become resistant to that? Don't you think you're going to start to become immune? That's exactly right. So when you fast, you're not spiking your blood sugar all day. And then when you have your feast at the end of the day, which is the way I teach it, you're going to fast all day long and have your feast at the end of the day. You're intentionally spiking your blood sugar with high quality ingredients from the earth, right? That good single ingredient whole food that either ran on the earth, flew over it, swam in it, or grew out of it. When you do that, that's going to improve your insulin sensitivity, and it's going to lower your blood sugar level over time. Now, there's scientific data to back this. A study in the New England Journal of Medicine found that fasting can reduce insulin resistance, promote cellular repair, autophagy, and lower A1C. There's also research from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism that shows fasting can improve insulin sensitivity by up to 60% in some people. That's huge, 60%. Now, how to implement? I teach that we go right into an OMAD, 1 meal a day or a 20-hour fast every single day. Now, if that's too much for you, if you're not ready to jump on the horse like that, I recommend you do it that way. But if you don't want to, start with intermittent fasting, maybe an 18-6. Do not go any shorter than that. Ideally, you're going to be at a 20-hour fasted period with a 4-hour feeding window. If you're going to do that, that's called the warrior diet. I highly recommend that. And if you can go 20 hours, you could probably go another 3 to get to your OMAD and do 1 meal a day. I highly recommend it. That's what I teach my clients. That's what brought my wife's A1C level down. She was pre-diabetic. We brought her down to 3.6 in a matter of 60 days following the OMAD and fasting approach. So it works. The results are going to be lowered blood sugar, improved fat burning, and better long-term metabolic health. And again, this is always about longevity and being there as your best for your people, specifically your family. And if you have a short, low-quality life, do you think they're getting everything they should from you? Probably not. So item number 2, or tip number 2, strength training. It's like the insulin sponge. Why does strength training lower A1C? Muscle tissue has more insulin receptors than any other tissue in the body. The more muscle you have, the more glucose your body can absorb without excess insulin because it has more receptors. Now, scientific data to back that. Science has shown that skeletal muscle accounts for about 80% of the glucose uptake in the body. A study in diabetes care showed that resistance training lowers A1C by 0.5 to 1% in just 12 weeks. And that's the equivalent of the effect of some diabetes medications. So strength training will give you the same result as some diabetic medications in just 12 weeks. Strength training also increases your GLUT4 transporters, which pull glucose from the bloodstream into the muscle, again, without needing excess insulin. So how do we implement this? Pretty simple. Start lifting weights. Find a weight, pick it up, and lift it. Now, I recommend anywhere from three to 6 times a week lifting weights. I do 6 days a week. But if you are going to go on the shorter end, say 3 or 4 days a week, you're going to be lifting, you're going to really want to focus on compound movements. So movements like squat, deadlifts, presses, bench press, overhead press. The compound movements are multiple muscle groups engaging in making that weight move. So by doing the compound movements, you're getting more of your musculature to engage during that shorter training period or those shorter training days where you're lifting 3 days a week or 4 days a week. More muscle means lower A1C and reduced insulin resistance. And of course, long-term fat loss. So tip number 3 for you guys today is going to be walk. Get your butt out there and walk after meals. Walking activates muscle contractions, obviously, and those contractions are going to help glucose absorb from the bloodstream, again, without needing excess insulin. So some scientific data for you guys. A study in diabetes care found that a 15-minute walk after meals lowered blood sugar by 30 to 50% compared to sitting. That's a huge number right there. Another study from the American Diabetes Association showed that light post-meal activity is as effective as diabetes medication in reducing blood sugar spikes. I'm going to say that again so you understand. Light post-meal activity is as effective as diabetes medication in reducing blood sugar spikes. That is crazy. Walking for 15 minutes after meal has the same effect as taking medication. Now, how do we implement this? This one is the most simple of all. Get your butt outside and go for a 10 to 15 minute walk after every meal. This simple habit will have a massive impact over time. It's going to lower your post-meal blood sugar. It's going to improve your insulin function. And it's going to, again, lead to better metabolic health overall. So you have 2 choices right now. You can keep ignoring your health and pay that price down the line, or you can take control now. Start now. Make today be the day that you work on yourself, that you get healthy for your family. So fast. Start with fasting. Tomorrow, do not eat breakfast. Skip lunch. Eat your meals. If you have to have more than one, eat them in a 4, maximum 6-hour period. And then after you have those meals, get your butt outside and go for a 10 to 15 minute walk. And then at least 3 days a week, pick up a weight and lift that guy over and over. Do the strength training. It is vital to your health. Your muscle is the key to controlling your blood sugar. You need to use it. You need to build it in order to protect your health. And this isn't just for you. This is for the people that depend on you, the people that need you at your best, your spouse, your children, and your family. Do not be selfish with this. Do not focus on your feelings. Focus on who you need to be for your family, mentally, physically, health-wise, financially. They need you to show up at your best. And if you have type 2 diabetes or your A1C levels are elevated, you are not going to be able to show up as the best you. So put in that work, skip a meal or 2, go for a walk after you eat, and start strength training. By doing these 3 things, you will, over time, lower your A1C levels. You'll reverse your type 2 diabetes. You'll knock down that insulin resistance, and you're going to improve your insulin response. This is going to lead to a healthier you overall, with a higher quality of life and a much longer life than you'd expect. All right, guys, I will see you next time. If you have any questions, put them down below and I'll get to you as soon as I can.